Welcome. I am excited to introduce to you our speaker for today, Kasey Wallis. At a very young age, Kasey began seeing and listening to angels, guides, masters visit her in her room, as well as getting intuitive hits of information when she was a child in regard to what was coming in life and also being able to provide information for family members as well. Kasey began channeling after her father's passing to her mother and her brother, giving them insight and information from him. This continued on, and with the passing of a couple more dear friends and family members, Kasey was truly coming into her channeling and mediumship gifts. In 2008, the process began to unfold. Julius began to come through in such powerful ways. Kasey began to share her channeling talents to live audiences, television programming, telesummits, and online courses and classes. Kasey has come to realize what a powerful connection and relationship she has with Julius. They have arrived once again in this timeline to assist her on her ascension process and also, of course, to assist you on yours. Welcome with me, my very good friend, Kasey Wallis.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Ascension and New World Wealth Summit. Welcome with me for today is Kasey Wallis. Thank you, Kasey, for joining us live. I'm so excited to see you.
Oh,
How are you?
amazing because I'm here, of course. That
Of
makes
course.
it absolutely a spectacular day. Best day ever, right? We love it when people ask us, how's your day? We say, it's my best day ever, right? So
Love
it's
that.
lovely to be here.
That is great energy attunement right there. All right, Kasey, share with us your topic for today.
Yeah, we want to talk to you about stepping into your magnificence because everything in your life is frequency. Your frequency, this costume that we wear, this is all an illusion. We are frequency energies. As the channel of the Ascended Masters group, Julius, we have a long talked to humanity about the fact that they are source and that this source energy is our natural and authentic state of being. And it's been covered up and diluted, and we have surrendered an aspect of our frequency currency to our fears, to our limited belief systems, and unfortunately, to what we've accepted as truth from other people, which is that we aren't such great people and we have all this terrible stuff about us. And coming back into the essence of all that we are is really going to solve everything. But how do we do that? How do we do that? As three-dimensional versions of ourselves as light, our brains get into, okay, I want a game plan. How do I do that? What are some of the steps that I can take? And sometimes it's difficult to reduce it into some suggestions and some formulations and things like that. And we're not going to really limit you completely that way, but we do want to talk about getting your awareness and alignment back into this space. We want to call it the difference between low consciousness, which puts us into a perspective of singular and separate, which limits our vibration. We literally can only vibrate at a particular frequency when we have the perception of being separate, versus a high consciousness state where we step into what we want to call unity consciousness, which is the expansive space of the all, which is the ignition and the turbocharged energy behind our light and our thought energy that totally transforms our world. Everything about our life is a reflection of our frequency projection that we are being, the frequency projection that we are radiating, because our own individual holographic projection is what creates our realities for us. And so this is what we want to talk to everybody about working on. No matter what your belief system has been in your life, no matter what you're trying to formulate in your life, no matter what you're trying to heal in your life, this is still comes back to your energy, And there's many things that block your energy field. We're going to talk about that a little bit and finding some of the solutions to that. But no matter where you are, no matter what you do, we want to always support that you are amazing. You are source. You are radiant, you are magnificent, you are expansive, and we're never going to let go of that conversation with you, ever. We also understand and support that there's a lot of stuff out there that has been difficult for people, perceived to be difficult and challenging, especially right now. There's something about this year that's causing a massive tear down, reconstruction, revealment for people's lives. And everybody's like trying to find those, what do we call those safety harnesses, right? That you find in the showers and stuff. And it's like, my God, I need to hold on to something. And that's what we're here to support with for you today.
So, so two things. First, I would love if you would share with everybody how it came about that you channel Julius, because this is the amazing part of your whole countenance is this partnership, and you bring it into not just the channeling, but your healing. So I'd love if you'd share.
Thank you. Thank you. So first thing I want to support before I get into my story is everybody channels. We're all channels. We just do it in different ways, as we know. So I'm going to leave that statement for anybody who may be looking at me, or even you, Gabrielle, because of how amazing you are, and think, well, I wish I could do things like that, or I wish I had that gift. You do. Okay. So it starts with the same storyline with many of you is, we were weird children. I was that child that could, see dead people. Okay. No, thankfully they weren't, decayed and scary, but they were spirits and entities that would come and talk to me mostly at night. So, and I now know that I was doing a lot of astral projecting as a child, maybe even some remote viewing. And I would wake up in the morning and tell my family, even as a little child, over the breakfast table, there was a man in my room last night. And, he told me this is how the soccer game is going to go, and da-da-da. And thankfully, because my household was not a religious household, my parents didn't think that was scary or weird. In fact, I now look back at it and I'm thinking my dad probably had some intuitiveness and really didn't think this sounded too strange. And that went on in my life. I seem to be fairly accurate in many of the things that I spoke about. And so I had a great support system. When I was in my 20s, I lost a few people in my life, loved ones. And it seemed that in their passing, Gabrielle, information would start to come through when I would be talking to people. I lost a nephew that was amazing. And when I started to talk to his mother, there just seemed to be this thing where Stephen came through, and I would remember the conversation. Later on, like, my sister-in-law would be like, oh my God, I can't believe that you gave me this information about Stephen. I'd be like, huh? Right? So somebody else really kind of recognized my channeling. I'll give credit to my then brother-in-law, Carl, who was like, oh my God, have you heard of Esther Hicks? And have you heard of this person and this person? I was like, okay. But like all of you and like all of us, it was like, whatever. I mean, I had my career in another industry, another profession, and this was just kind of the weird thing I did. But there was an impactful time period, I think, for a lot of us. It was kind of back in 2007, be somewhere between 2006 and 2009, where we suddenly got hit with some floodgates of this group. Okay. I was told literally by a young man who passed away that I had a really great relationship with when he was coming to me, that my channeling gifts were coming and that he was going to help me with my channeling gift if I, of course, agreed to channel for him, for his mother, which I did. So in 2008, long around 2008, there was an extraordinary event, and my connection with Julius became very known. They came in, it was the right time for me. I really didn't even identify them as the name of Julius at that time. It was like kind of the entities coming through. And man, the floodgates unleashed. There was just this wisdom and this clarity and this craziness. And I was stepped out on stage with this, and it was amazing. But for years, I really didn't know who I was to Joyce, even though Joyce has been teaching now for about 15 years, and I've been blessed to be able to be the conduit for Joyce. I still always wondered a little bit who I was. Many people thought I was Cleopatra, and I was like, no, that doesn't really resonate with me. I appreciate it, but it wasn't quite right. But in this year, January 1st, 2024, my life got hit with an asteroid of what I thought was destruction at the time. My whole life got ripped out from underneath me. My relationship that I was deeply embedded with and was so deeply in love with this person, huge betrayal, huge destruction. And I literally thought my world had come to an end. And here came Julius. It was like the corridor for Julius to really come through. And for days, I was in a state of a download. And I found out, get this is so interesting. I'm not Cleopatra. I was Arsinoe. Arsinoe was Cleopatra's half sister. And she challenged Cleopatra for the throne and lost. And Cleopatra ordered Julius to get rid of Arsinoe, and he didn't. Instead, he hid her on an island. And there she was, of course, Julius's lover. They had many children together. And she was a medium, a psychic, a healer. She was all of these crazy things. In fact, she was impactful to Julius on their strategies for many of the things that they do. And that Arsinoe could do all of these healing modalities. And I came out of this state in January, and I could do these things called extracting these vaults. So we have created through many timelines and lifetimes, they literally look like vault doors of limited beliefs, limited experiences that are obstacles in our energetic field. And I could see them. So Julius could help me get into this theta state with my brain, and I can see this imagery around people, and I could get in and extract these vaults, and people could start to feel a shift in their vibrational field. Because as you know, as we just spoke about, there's so many different obstacles that block us from remembrance. And we go on our conscious journey, we go on our healing journey, and we hit these obstacles. Thankfully, there's wonderful practitioners out there that can help us with different things. And so this became this crazy thing, new thing that I did this year. And all of these things are up leveling for me. So between the Julius relationship and finally discovering who I've been through with Julius, this has actually taken me into a new state of knowing what I'm here to do, what we're all here to do. And so it's been incredible. Of course, you know this because you're such a dear friend and we've had these conversations, and it's just been an extraordinary joy. And Joyce has been with me for many, many lifetimes, of course. Apparently, I do this for many, many lifetimes and timelines. Right. And so here we are. And so we're loving it, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. First, I want to just draw what you were talking about with regard to the remembrance, because basically the tragedy caused you to open the door to your own remembrance of your own skills and abilities. And that's what we all talk about, is that, like you said, we all have the ability. It's that in general, because of tragedy, we can also turn it off, and we can also not remember, not have access because of the vault doors and because of various other things. And I want to point out that, like, we're all continuously on that journey, right? And we're all continuously opening that next level for ourselves, but we have to be at the right frequency in order to even access that hall or that portal or that vault, or whatever it is that we need to travel through to even let's call it the hall of records, right? So the hall of records is huge for each soul. It's not like you have one book. When I visited my own, I mean, it's like, floor to ceiling, and you need really tall ladders, and it's like you have all of these volumes. And so just being able to tap just even a small portion of everything you've embodied is incredible in this life. That is what that's what helps you accelerate your ascension and your ability, right, to manifest and create in your current life. Like your devastation and my devastation, almost like we were within like 3 months of each other.
Yes.
And what happened, right? Like the rising phoenix. We've come out of it stronger. Yes, we're still The 3D stuff is still happening, but you have risen above the
Yeah.
ashes and allowed that next level to come in for you instead of
Yeah.
fighting it, which a lot of people do,
I'll
right?
tell you what, it's funny because both you and I have been talking about for years about, this big shift that's coming and happening, and that there's going to be this tear down. Literally in the last couple of years, I've been channeling Julius, telling people, your life may be falling apart. This is going to be a big shift. No, it's going to be mine. I'm like, I got it all together, right? I'm channeling Julius. I'm going to help everybody else do it. And then it was like, kaboom. I mean, I'm like, no, this can't be real. I can't have this deceiver in my life. I can't have, because Julius has been there. They wouldn't let this happen to me. Let this happen to me as if they are going to control of it. But I'll tell you what it did, because we've talked about this. I, after 15 years channeling Julius, got to discover and make a decision. Am I going to walk the walk? Am I going to walk the walk? Am I going to come back to in what I perceive to be my most destructive and darkest? Like, I'm seriously going to tell everybody I thought about leaving. And Julius said, no, we're doing this, right? And I'm like, oh, right, right. As I'm bawling all day, every day. And the only thing I had to go to was my light and my formula and my strategy, and as I'm running 6 miles every morning, bawling as I'm going down the street, blowing my light field up and blowing my light field up. And of course, like you, Gabrielle, being such a dear friend, making those phone calls at 4 a.m. and help me and help me and help me, and having a support team. But it was the Phoenix moment for me, or months of it, where we're all faced with, okay, you've been talking about this for a while. Let's see if you're really in a space of knowing this. And so this year, I've always believed in Julius. I've always believed in everything I've done. And now I know it. It's
That,
amazing. Yeah.
oh my goodness. So that really touches on the ultimate test of faith and trust in yourself as source and your connection to source.
Yeah.
And I feel that while you were talking, I was thinking of, the Bible passage regarding Job or Job. I mean, the same, like everything is ripped from your life, but where is your allegiance? Where are you still aligned? And this is what everybody has to come to, their Jesus moment is often talked about, because it means, your come to Jesus moment. It's where the truth is there. You either choose to accept it or you reject it. And that's what a lot of us are being given, that, like you said, it is a choice. We still have the choice to decide instead, nope, we've been betrayed and I'm done. Like we've done in other lifetimes where we close off our gifts and actually just put a halt to it all. It's like, well, this shouldn't have happened to me, like you said, because I'm doing my path, right?
And the betrayal energy is the worst. Okay. So, with respect to everyone out there, and I don't want to get into comparisons of measures of loss, please. I honor all of it. But there's something about the betrayal energy that's even worse than just losing somebody. Like, seriously, I thought to myself, I wish the person had, I shouldn't say that. I could have handled things better if they just died than to find out what was going on and to have them do to me what they did to me. I was like, how do we get past this? It's trauma. Okay. Not even realize I'd been in trauma in the relationship, because that was a blind spot. And it was clear I was by the response that I had in getting discarded out of it, and the trauma that he went through. And again, all these realizations, but it's that energy. And then you realize, oh my God, I've done this before, right? Like, I've been in this contract with this person, and there's this karma, and there's this repetitive stuff. And now it's like, we're done. Being able to close that down. The contract is done. The karma's broken. We're resolved. And who am I? Right? Who am I? That is the biggest and most intense introspective that any of us can dive into. And it's an individual journey for each of us. I can't describe mine and tell everybody it's going to be that way for them any more than you can. All we can do is try to help support all of you, that we understand what you may be going through, or that you're witnessing somebody else go through and not know what to do about it. And to help you, here we are. We want to help you. We're doing this stuff. I'll tell you what, this has been 7 months now, and the aspect of who I am at this point is an immeasurable journey in these 7 months than it has been. Well, I could go as far as saying for the previous of my whole physical life this time around, but the conversations, the relationships, when I start talking to somebody about this and hearing that this is common, like this in the last few years, I'm like, what is going on with everybody, right? It's that here we are. Wake up, stand up, make your choice.
It's the
It's amazing.
separation. I mean, you talked about in the beginning. I mean, the 3D is about separation from self and separation from source.
Yeah.
And so basically, the energy is pushing everybody to decide, which side are you on? Are you going to stay separated from self and source, or are you going to merge?
Oh my God, you made such a powerful statement. I want everybody on this program to understand. I am blessed with Gabrielle being a good, dear friend of mine. She was one of those phone calls when this went down for me. And you said something so powerful, Gabrielle, to me. And because I've re-spoken the words that you said to me to other people. You said, there's been this black area, this white area, and this gray area. And this gray area has been this hidden space for deceivers, for halfway people to kind of pretend that they're enlightened or pretend, and that's being torn apart. And people are either falling into the dark or the light. And that middle section is gone. And it's been devastating to see. It's like, I'm dark. I'm going to the light. I'm going to the light. And it's the time. It's like we're making those choices. And I was like, oh my God, that is so profound, because that's exactly what I saw took place. But it made me go, I'm going light. I'm light. I'm light. There's no question about it. Right?
The choice is only black or white now. Yeah. You are either going dark. There's no middle for you to hide out in, and no middle for you to be safe in, and no middle that allows you to keep everything you've created, but you only want to change one or two things that aren't working. I mean, that's where people get caught. Like they think, like for myself, I kept thinking that if I kept doing more and I kept doing more healing work on my now ex-husband, if I kept trying to make everything okay and, keep nudging him along, that it would get better, that things were going to get better, right? And so I mean, that must have been that internal song that was going on, because we all are harmonic. So this is what your energy field is pumping. If you just keep trying, you just keep working at it, it's going to get better. And it was that jolt, and you and I had that conversation when I really realized it, like, this is not getting better. And it's time for me it's like almost fess up to yourself, be honest, and be like,
well, and what was cool was the only and I won't even call it different, we'll call it just a different side of the same version,
right,
was you had made your conscious decision to get out. I had not. I felt like the victim that got discarded, because that was the action that took place. Of course, in the truth, I know that that was my choice to be getting out of that situation, because the frequency was so vastly different.
Right.
Clinging to him, being attached to him, being in a trauma bond situation with a covert narcissist, and feeling the victim side of my empowerment. And through these conversations, realizing, yes, of course I did this. Of course my soul did this. It was time. I always laugh and say, Julius was like, boom, okay, it's time to go. And it was like, and then everybody was like, capture, she's going to keep going. And you having the more, at the moment, feeling more empowered, which was why you're such a support team to me. You were like, you did this. I'm like, right, I did it. I'm going to realize it at some point.
Yeah, well,
whether we choose it or not. I mean, like you said, whether you think you're choosing it or not, your
Right.
soul, your higher self
Of
is
course.
actually in charge. And so being in alignment, and you did realize it,
Yeah.
very quickly. And so I want to bring this back to the vault.
Yes. Yes.
Because I know when you first told me about this uh, access to your old ability, let's be real.
Right. Right.
So you've been
Uh,
practicing it for centuries.
Right.
Just it's the first time you were able to bring it into this existence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember that I was so very intrigued because I was like, yes. So for people who either have been doing energy healing, emotional healing work, they may have hit the wall where it's like, well, it wasn't enough. It didn't quite get me there. I'm still missing something. And
Yeah.
then for people who may not have even started, who knows where you are in your journey, this idea that you're able to access for them the vaulted off area that's
Right.
keeping them from being able to reach that next level of
Yeah.
frequency
Yeah.
is that was like, yes, I really relate to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so for everybody listening, I did purchase her package and I did do it. And she found some really amazing things, which then has, led me to further into my deeper journey and my also deeper rebirth into what I share and how I share it and gifts and abilities. So I want you to talk about um, your offer because
Well,
you are making an offer for everyone to be able to access this amazing technology that you
thank
provide.
you.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Again, we decided to launch it, and it's a process. So I do want to support this right now. In all fairness, you all have many vaults. This offer is only for a single extraction, but it's like anything else that's festering and poisonous. We want to start to get them out. We want to start to get them out. When I started to offer these services, thankfully, and with graciousness of everybody, it's been huge. It's been a huge phenomenon of response of many appointments and time on my side. And I'm like, I can't, how are we going to keep doing this? How are we going to keep doing this? So we decided this time we're going to do a group vault removal for everybody for this ridiculously low price compared to what I normally charge for these services. So package that I'm offering is my channeled messages from Julius on your empowerment, talking about you being sourced, talking about the different levels of consciousness, talking about your energy frequency bands, talking about how to love yourself. Those are the modules, the recorded modules that are included in the package. And they're very powerful and very extraordinary to help you along your conscious journey. But in the package, we are also giving you the opportunity to participate in what's going to be a Zoom application just like this, where we're going to go in and get a major, well, I almost call it a major arcana vault for everybody. If you purchase this package, you will have the choice of 2 different dates to participate in a group Zoom. Now, we've said that, but depending on the response, we may be adding a 3rd date. So we'll kind of keep that up in the air. So, but yeah, so you're going to participate in this. We've done the individual stuff, but literally I've run out of time. I'm booked on individual applications for months on end. And we didn't want to limit anybody who wanted to step into it. Like, we're just not going to be able to fit in all these people. I'm like, and Julius was like, let's do it in a group. Let's do it in a group. Like, they've been talking to me about doing that for the last few months. And I'm like, I don't know. We're doing it. So this is going to be our group vault removal. Now let's talk about these vaults. So you have 7 energy bodies, okay? 7 energy bodies. You have vaults in each of the bodies, but the tightest and heaviest ones are in the etheric body, the one closest coming back to the 3rd dimensional paradigm. So this vault is going to be extracted from your base corridor of major blockage in your etheric field. Commonly, these vaults are directly related to lack of self-love, self-judgment, trauma, betrayal. Okay. They're crazy. Once that's extracted, what we're going to do is we're going to take you through a process. I'm going to be describing to everybody, probably to the best of my ability, the massive amount of vaults that I'm seeing, the energy behind that, and we're going to pull this out. You're going to watch me do it. You're going to participate in doing it with me. We're going to extract this. Then what we find behind these vaults, Gabrielle, is stagnant energy. So you're limited on your fluidity, right? We talk about flow and fluidity and everything coming through us. And it's like, let's move this energy. So we're going to move that energy. We're obviously going to ground you out afterwards and balance your energy field. But I definitely want to tell everybody this. When you choose your date, please take in consideration what your schedule is going to be over the next couple of days, because this is an energetic recovery for you. It's not going to make you be in bed, but everybody has said, oh my gosh, this was really intense in the aftermath of it. And I'm like, yes, of course, because this is like energy surgery, right? And then you have to have a little bit of energy recovery. So we're always going to ask everybody, you're going to need to love yourself for the next 48 hours and rest a little bit. But yeah, it's cool. And it's intense. And it's amazing. And I am so blessed to be able to bring that to all of you. But the best thing is this, you're going to participate. So, because I truly believe you are all source energy, and we're going to assist you. We're going to collaborate with you. This is your soul saying, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. And passing these off to me for Arsinoe and Julius, really, because I'm going to be in a channeled state and a theta state during this, and they're going to say, let us take them and let's get rid of this together, and then see how that can assist you in a major, major way through your choosing to accelerate your consciousness and your energy field. Your life is changing. You're changing. If you're here listening to your summit, Gabrielle, these people are ready to change. Of course they are, because it's time, right? And it's amazing that we're all here together.
Well, this is our time also to access our highest divine aligned flow. And this is an opening that we've been waiting for and prepping for 30 years minimum. I mean, the people before us could be at 60 years now. So
Yes.
we're at that place where it's like we've broken through that glass ceiling that was keeping us from reaching higher consciousness.
Yeah.
And now are actually, being granted permission. However, you have to be at the frequency to be able to walk through. And that's what we're talking about with the vaults, is that it is annihilating eons of needing to incarnate in order to move that frequency through. And that's the blessing of this time, and the blessing of what you're channeling through you is that, you're taking what some of us, when, I originally awakened in 1998. So however many years it is, it's a long time, to get to where we are. And now we're able to move much faster than, what it took us to get where we are now, right? Because we were, they're showing me an inchworm. Like we were doing inchworm, and now we're doing leaps and bounds. Yeah, totally. And it's like, this is so amazing. So I love your idea and the offer for the group program. And everybody, the link will be below the video for you to access that sale page and join our darling Kasey and Julius to do this work. And I strongly encourage you to do it. As I said, if you are blessed and she does open her schedule in the future, to try to do the personal as well, because I will tell you that there's no limit to your own exponential movement. And when you do have tragedy or trauma that may happen in your current life, the beauty of being on your highest divine aligned path is that you do move through it so much faster, and like in your highest and best way. Like what is created, like from the Phoenix Rising idea, is so much more than anything I had in mind for my own future, my own hopes and dreams. And I think you and I, as we were talking about, feel the same way. Like, I didn't see myself quite at this place. Like it wasn't in my consciousness. And now you're like, wow, and there's so much more. And
Yeah.
that's what again is shown to you is
Yeah.
there's so much more. You just have to keep saying yes.
Yeah. And here's the thing, with all of the people that I've had the opportunity to work with these vaults, here's another common dialogue. And I know you're going to align with this. There's so many people out there that want to get their message out, or they want to step into being practitioners. There's something holding them back. They get afraid when it's execution time or da da da. And I'm like, yeah, there's those mental subliminal programmed self-sabotage that you just kind of can't get past. And we found some of the breakthroughs. Literally just got a testimonial the other day. My production manager sent me the email. This person said they've given up their career. They're launching what they do after having the vault sessions with me. It's clear now, their motivation, their energy, no fear, and it's done. They're doing this thing, and they were sending gratitude to me for being able to reach the state of frequency. And I'm like, it's you, it's you, it's you. I was just honored to assist you on that journey. But that's the other thing. If you're feeling like, yeah, everybody feels like there's this thing that's holding me back from whatever it is, and we know there's some things, and we're all here to unleash you. There's so much work to do, right? And it's so much fun to be able to do it. It's just the most amazing thing, right?
It is. I agree. I feel like this time is such a blessing. Like there's such division, but there's a reason for the division. And
Yeah.
that's what people have to realize. And it's time for each of us to embody our own power and
Yeah.
really move into our leadership. And that's how we create this ascension and new world wealth, because we're standing in our power and we become actual creators of an existence that we can't even imagine. It's just, it kind of evolves as we go and it
Yeah.
becomes kind of a cool journey, right? It's just
Absolutely.
like,
And, I want to support this really quickly too. Some people will kind of come into the dialogue, well, money's bad, or why are you talking about money? It's all energy. It's all energy. And because we've incarnated, one of the fractalized versions of us are incarnated into a commodity-based reality. For now, it's a commodity-based reality. That commodity becomes an energy participant, okay? So when we talk about abundance, and some people might criticize, well, why is it always lean into money? We're like, well, because it's part of this physical journey for now. It would be lovely for it to go away, and we're all planning on that to be a truth. But for now, it's the love, it's the health, it's the money, it's the relationship, it's your conscious
it's
journey.
all
All of
of
these
them.
things are just reflective of frequency. So when you get your frequency up, all of it's going to rain down upon you, and unleash. It's just that's it's a big target of focus for people. If only I had this, or if only I had this. And we're like, well, let's make that accessible to you, because it's frequency. It's frequency. They aren't individual. It's a collective frequency. You may choose whatever that is for you in your version, but it's all possible. And I want to say this too. There's no limit to any of it out there. We've got to get out of the program of lack and limitation when it comes to any version in our lives. You're going to be amazed at the possibilities and the floodgates for things that you don't even know about or never even heard of, and you don't even need to worry about it. It's coming through like a tsunami into our lives, and it's going to lift us up into the remembrance of who we are.
Love that. I would say that's a beautiful place for us to complete our time together. I thank you, Kasey, so much for your beautiful energy, and just I'm in awe of all that you're doing and really appreciate you sharing with everyone. And I want to thank you, our audience, for spending this time with us, and we hope to see you soon and connect with you live. Everyone, have a beautiful day. Namaste.